Opinions vary to the extreme when it comes to Miklós Horthy and the era defined by his leadership. After a lost war, revolutions and counter-revolutions took place, then a consolidation period began. Reaching a political solution for social problems was made possible by the agreement between the government, the trade unions and the Social Democrats. Following the fall of the Hungarian Council Republic, the People's Commissar's trial took place amid ongoing atrocities from the armed troops of Miklós Horthy. Numerous intellectuals were convicted or dismissed from their jobs at that time, like the poet Mihály Babič, who was an active public figure during the 1918 revolution and became a member of the Writers' Directorate. Although he disagreed with the ideology and policy of the 1919 dictatorship of the proletariat, like many intellectuals, he was subjected to atrocities after the fall of the previous political system. He lost his job as a university lecturer and was forced into retirement. In order to stabilize the political situation, a head of state needed to be found and appointed. The last Hungarian king, Károly V, made 2 attempts after the dethronement of the Habsburgs to regain the throne of the by then independent Hungary. The Battle of Budaörs, which took place in October 1921, led to the defeat and arrest of the former king. The title of regent was created, which was held for the entire period by a significant political figure of the era, Miklós Horthy. The decade-long period of political and economic consolidation after World War I, ending with the Great Depression, is mostly attributed to István Bethlen's government. For the sake of the country's political and economic stability, it was essential to reach consensus in internal affairs. Fulfilling one of the most important internal political tasks on December 22, 1921, Bethlen made an agreement with the strongest left-wing opposition party, the Social Democrats. Between the 9th and 21st of December, a total of 6 meetings were held, all presided by Bethlen. On behalf of the Labour Party, negotiations were led by Károly Péter, who represented the conservative wing and managed to maintain his political reputation in the course of the 1919 cooperation with the Communists. Under the agreement, the Social Democrats regained their right to assembly and were allowed to stand for parliament and the following elections in 1922. With the exception of the gravest cases, the majority of workers interned for political reasons were released, and the press censorship was abolished. In this period, numerous intellectuals regained their freedom and also their jobs, like Mihály Babič, who was previously convicted. The unions were able to function again, excluding the unions of public servants, railway and post employees, which were considered as strategically important. In exchange, they had to agree to refrain from political activities, criticizing the government's foreign policy in the press. The Social Democratic leaders had to give up their most powerful political weapon, the right to strike. The agreement was also subject to serious criticism from both sides, hence the use of the somewhat pejorative term pact. Social Democratic leaders in particular had to face serious criticism from the international social democratic movement and the communists as well for their collusion with the government representing the bourgeois. Today, the agreement is considered to be a realistic compromise. The Social Democrats were part of Hungarian legislation until 1944, but note that due to the extreme nationalist sentiment prevailing in the country, the number of their voters diminished by the end of the period. The Social Democratic Party was able to keep their base only in a few industrial cities and the capital. In the last election before the war, the party won only 1/5 of the seats compared to 1922, 5 instead of 25. As a result of political weakening and division in the left wing, the conservative government practically stood alone against the growing extreme right wing. A left-wing personality who was able to hold her mandate was Anna Kétli, one of the first widely known female politicians. Kétli consistently fought against the Nazi policy, the anti-Jewish laws and other discriminatory actions. As the featured document reveals, she stood up for the Polish civilians and soldiers who fled to Hungary in large numbers from 1939 onwards. Due to the German occupation of Hungary that took place on the 19th of March 1944, she was forced into hiding until the liberation of Hungary. The Bethlen government was swept away by the global economic crisis in 1931. Bethlen remained a confidant of Regent Miklós Horthy, representing a moderate right-wing, anti-Nazi and pro-English position. After the German occupation, he was forced into hiding and was arrested by the Soviet army in 1945 and died in custody.